여러분 안녕하세요. 지니 선생님이에요. 잘 지냈죠? What we're going to learn today is about English adjectives. Let's take a look at the following sentences. Number 1. He is a diligent student. Number 2. It is a fun movie. Number 3. I want to buy something that my mom likes. Number 4. My father likes a car that has a lot of space. From the first sentence, the word diligent modifies the noun student. Same thing for the second sentence. Fun modifies the noun movie. For the third sentence, the words that my mom likes modify the noun something. The fourth sentence is the same as the third sentence. That has a lot of space. Modify the noun car. So, we are going to study the one that modifies a noun in Korean. Yes, in English, the one that modifies a noun is called an adjective. But in the Korean language, it's called 관형어. 관형어 is part of speech in the Korean language and it modifies a noun. One notable difference between Korean and English is that when you modify a noun, in Korean, the words that modify a noun always comes before the noun. I will say this simple fact once again because it is important and this fact makes Korean really easy. Any words that modify a noun always comes before the noun. And the noun modifier comes from a verb. For example, from the first example, the diligent is 부지런하다, as in Korean verb. So we need to conjugate properly to modify the noun. The second word is the same, fun. Fun is 재미있다. From the third sentence, the phrase that modifies something is that my mom likes. From this sentence, the verb is likes, and we need to change it to the Korean verb form, which is 좋아하다. The fourth sentence is the same as the third. That has a lot of space. The verb is has, and in Korean it's 있다. Now that we understand the Korean verb, it is time to modify a noun. Before we say each one in Korean, notice that each noun modifier is in the present tense. Then you may wonder, do the tense matter? Yes. Depending on the tense of the word that modifies the noun, conjugation will be different. So here's the rule to make 관형어 from a verb if it is in the present tense. As you can see in the rule, if the Korean noun modifier is an action verb or a descriptive verb that ends with 있다 or 없다, then 는 should be added to the verb stem. The second sentence from the above example is 재미있다. This is a descriptive verb, but it ends with 있다. Therefore, 는 should be added to the verb stem, 재미있. Hence, it becomes 재미있는. As a result, the fun movie becomes. Look at another example with an action verb. What is the verb to read in Korean? Yes, it is 읽다. The verb stem of it is 읽, and 는 should be added to it. It becomes 읽는. Therefore, if you want to say, the book that I am reading is fun, then you can say, 내가 읽는 책이 재미있어요. Same thing with 맛있는 빵. Although 맛있다 is a descriptive verb, it ends with 있다. Therefore, 는 should be added to the verb stem, and it's 맛있는 빵. Let's take a look at a few more examples. Car that my father is buying. Verb stem 사다 plus 차. Therefore, 아빠가 사는 차. mom who is cooking. Verb stem, 요리하다 plus 엄마. Therefore, 요리하는 엄마. Then what about descriptive verbs? Look at the rule right here. When we have something 니은, that means the conjugation will depend on the final consonant, correct? So when you use a descriptive verb to modify a noun, we have to conjugate differently depending on the final consonant of the verb stem. If there is a final consonant, 니은 should be added as the final consonant to the verb stem, while 은 should be added to the verb stem if there is a final consonant in the last letter of the verb stem. Pretty girl, verb stem, 예쁘다, plus 소녀. Therefore, 예쁜 소녀. As you can see, the Korean word for pretty is 예쁘다. It is a descriptive verb, and the last letter of the verb stem is 뿌. It has no final consonant. Therefore, 니은 should be added to the verb stem to be used as the final consonant. So it becomes 예쁜. What about 작다? 작다 is another descriptive verb, but the verb stem of it has a final consonant. Therefore, if you want to say a small room, then 은 should be added, and it becomes 작은 방. What if you want to say the day we have a lot of homework? To have a lot of homework in Korean is 숙제가 많다. 많다 is a verb, and because the verb stem 만 has a final consonant, 은 should be added. Therefore, the phrase the day we have a lot of homework becomes 숙제가 많은 날. Today, we talked about the words that modify a noun. It is called 관형어 in Korean, and we talked about the present tense. To make a Korean word that modifies a noun, it should be placed in front of the noun, and if the tense is used in the present tense, conjugation will differ depending on the nature of the verbs, action verb or descriptive verb. I will summarize it here once more. I can't emphasize enough the fact that in Korean, any words that modify a noun should be placed in front of the noun. Then as you can see, the present tense of the noun modifying words depends on the nature of the verbs, either the action verb or the descriptive verb. 다음 시간에 만나요.